speech for someone that you couldn't like. Sometimes some things are not my business. I may know something, but it's not really my business. And if I go talking about that, I make someone else's business public, maybe in a way that they're not happy about or that's harmful. And so, and you don't know the unintended consequences of that. So when you go to Georgia, in Tbilisi, every exchange place does Bitcoin.
Wow.
Every and Budapest, almost every exchange in Budapest does Bitcoin. Um, but the exchange offices in Belgrade, they don't. You can specifically the network effect of the network itself is be the first to adopt it, the first to capitalize upon it, and integrate it in order to strengthen the chain. The other aspect of it is that an artificial general intelligence will recognize the quality of Bitcoin for what it is. It would defend the network on its own.
On with it. Let's just get on with it. You all right?
Yeah, man, I'm good.
How's life? You've been on your travels, haven't you?
In Greece for a couple weeks, and kind of a lot's happening in the world. And
Slightly.
did you hear Trump's supposed to announce a trade deal with China tomorrow?
No. Oh, really?
Yep,
Oh,
that
wow.
just came over the wires. And then
That's interesting.
I had like a 2 hour heads up on Ukraine with Russia. I didn't
Yep.
know it was going to a peace proposal, but I knew something big was going to happen. So I posted that, hey, something big's about to happen. Um, that's not a done deal yet. That could still blow up.
Yeah.
You know, what Putin's saying is no conditions, let's have a meeting. But if they screw around, he's going to really escalate. So uh, let's see what else is all right. Man, I got a glass of wine here. No,
I've had cheers. I've had a glass of
just
wine.
throw
Well,
yeah, yeah.
I've had two glasses of wine actually. Just had a cup of tea as well, so I might need a loo halfway through this. But so
Um,
how's it going, mate?
it is going good.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I got Bitcoin conference in Prague coming up.
Oh, wicked.
And got some good conversations going to get happening there. We're going to
Mhm.
talk about the node wars. Are you familiar with
No,
what's going on between Bitcoin
I've
Core
heard
and
about it. Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of important because Bitcoin's supposed to be decentralized, and so it can't be decentralized if everyone running a node runs the same software that's developed by a group of people who on their own create a consensus. Then it kind of centralizes the tech access to the blockchain
Yeah.
into a smaller group. And so, it doesn't matter whether people agree with changes that Bitcoin Core wants to add or not add. If you don't like it, you're supposed to run another program. That's
Okay.
the that's the point. Just and so Knots is the alternative everybody's talking about now. But I was watching the MIT conference on Bitcoin this year. It was broadcast live on YouTube, and um, some people from Bitcoin Core came on and had a panel, a couple of panels. And what struck me is they all kept mentioning that they struggle for funding for development, and people don't realize how important Core is. It is. It absolutely is important. Um, but if the funding isn't there, and they're struggling. They have to innovate to either get attention or to get funding. I I think a lot of times when you arrive at the destination of the orange pill, you think the work is over.
Yeah.
but it's not. The work's not over. The work, it's a technology. You have to continue to maintain and upgrade a technology. And how that's upgraded has to be decentralized in its nature, right? Bitcoin's binary, right? It's binary. You're either in it or you're not. It either
Yep.
works and it eats everything or it fails and goes to zero. But it's either decentralized or it's not. And if there's not that philosophy of decentralization permeating every aspect of the tech, then you go down a slippery slope.
Yep.
And the slippery slope being, and I'm not going to say that anybody in Bitcoin Core is doing this, but there is a temptation for people to surreptitiously fund the developers in Bitcoin Core and begin to implement in an incremental way, in an incremental way, changes to the code or or the way a block is validated
Yep.
or that achieves because of market dominance a consensus that essentially is worse than a 51% attack. Now there's still miners that have a conversation to play there. And so it's not like, oh no, it's panic time, Bitcoin centralizing. It's not. Um, but philosophically, everybody needs to operate with that decentralization in DNA in mind, or you're going to continue to see problems like this. And what I don't like about the way the war's been fought online is that it's been fought online and publicly. So the issue about op return, if anybody's just go do a deep search on this. The issue of op return, you know, should has been handled like previous issues like this have been handled by consensus in spaces online where developers had these discussions, and they were just cautious about who came in there to make sure these people were actually able to develop, understood blockchain, understood Bitcoin, understood the code. You don't want to it's like every human's like capable of error, right? So people can make a coding error, people can make a judgment error, someone can be off their A game one day. And so there's a lot of safety in numbers and checking and rechecking and gaining consensus. And I don't want to say ruling, that's a harsh term. That's like an exaggeration. Not ruling and not governing, but operating by consensus in a decentralized platform is what Bitcoin does every 10 minutes. It operates on consensus. The entire network agrees that coins that were here are now here and the other ones are still where they are. And so some people want to add a little bit of extra information to that. I mean, that's something that needs to happen in a like a positive um uh, what's the word I'm looking for? There needs to be a venue that facilitates deep conversation, absent emotion, to handle this. And so it's not being handled that way. Some people are getting their feelings hurt. A couple people are being loud. I just don't think it's going to age well. I think you're going to look back 6 months, a year from now, and those people are going to have to eat their words. And um, it's bad for the space. And I
Yeah.
also, my personal opinion is the next period of FUD that Bitcoin's going to have during if the cycle holds true, let's just assume it does, and there's a large retracement after the cycle's over. There's going to be a narrative around that FUD and how nodes function and how the network functions. It's probably going to be that narrative. And Bitcoin's growing. It's going to have growing pains, and this is one of them. I just wish the conversation was more civil than it
Yeah.
is. But there are people funding devs on core from dark places, and we don't know for a fact who all those sources of funding are. And there's other sources of funding, which, depending on your own personal philosophy, could be exceptionally positive or quite suspect. And, so clearly the entire Bitcoin community, especially the whales and the miners, the state actors, the institutions, need to really consider launching VC or incubation mechanisms to develop alternative methods of running a node to produce a free market with competition and a diversity of options for people. But we can't, I mean, so that's hardware, that's software, all of that, wallets, all that needs to be diversified. Can't everybody run a ledger, right? You have a single point of weakness. You have a confluence, it can become a weakness. So decentralized in your DNA. That's the big conversation for Bitcoin right now. And
Yeah.
then yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say you've probably lost me in a lot of it.
Hmm.
I was going to ask you a really simple question
Yeah,
that up to now, how has, I mean, I've never really overly, I've just took it all for granted, to be fair. Whether that's my naivety or I just don't want to learn that deep into the mechanics of it. Maybe I should do because I'm invested in the product.
yeah.
Um, but up to now, what's the core? Who's looking after the system?
No, that's a great point. That's what these nodes do.
Yeah,
And it's distributed amongst every individual that wants to operate a node can.
yeah,
And I think at some point, it's responsible for every coin holder to run a node
yeah,
just to reinforce the decentralization of the network. And then how that node is ran is really got to be a decision of the individual. You got to say, I like Bitcoin Core and I'm going to run that. Hey, no problem. I don't think we should ever tell anybody what software they should run. We shouldn't tell them what hardware they should run, who their friends should be. That was kind of the whole point.
yeah,
Bitcoin in the first place was a protest against narratives that divide people. It's supposed to be something that unifies people. There's a company called the Bitcoin Way, and I'm going to be meeting with them in Prague. And they, um, as a business, educate people on self custody and running a node and kind of error proofing the way you hold, helping you plan for your future, for your family's future.
yeah,
What if guy falls, right? What if this happens? So, you know, it's great that there's a business that's out there doing it. I'm going to walk in as a customer and I'm going to become a customer and I'm going to meet people. I'm going to learn new things.
yeah.
That's what I do.
It sounds really cool. So, what is what's the gripe about now? Is someone just trying to change the system, or
Yeah.
is there a worry that because
It's not
someone's
that
paying people that they're going to influence
they,
how possibly the system can work?
the crux of the argument is that when a block is validated, some people want to add information to the block,
Okay,
and some people don't think anything beyond what's mechanically necessary should be added at all.
okay,
So we know people have sprayed graffiti on the block before, right? There's, hi mom and all, well, okay, and it's part of the blockchain is forever. That's great. So on the anti side, I don't want to quote sources specifically. Someone online, prominent and on X, said, imagine visiting the Taj Mahal, and when you arrive, there's a group of self-appointed tour guides handing out spray paint cans, encouraging everybody to graffiti the Taj Mahal.
okay.
How how would you feel about that? I mean, it's a fair point, right? Okay, fair point. On the other side of that, on the core side, where they want this information to be able to be added, um, is what is a way to, or there's no better way to kind of strengthen the use case of the immutability of a block, right? Backed by the most powerful machine ever known to man, than to put art or or something on that, right? So it can become more reflective of its users.
Yeah,
And there's also a commercial application for that.
Yeah.
I hadn't read much, but Lynn Alden just posted something about a startup that's going to be doing like document signing on the blockchain.
Okay.
And so I assume is gonna I again I haven't read anything, so I don't really know, but I could assume that without exposing the contents of the document, you should be able to through the blockchain authenticate and timestamp that document's creation or existence in time, or maybe even the signatures applied to it. You think about the commercial applications of that on
Yeah.
on the blockchain.
It's
Man, that's
massive.
a big deal. Like so Andy wants to sell me, an old Fiat, and it thinks classic because Prince what's his ass or whatever wants to throw up in it or something. Okay, cool. And, we authenticate that, and that goes on the blockchain. It's like, cool. That's the provenance, provenance for art or maybe copyright ownership of something internationally. And then layer two is going to have to really figure out how to figure that all out. I mean, it's going to again, this is going to be growing pains. This is a technology whose use case hasn't even been fully probed. Just we've scratched the surface of what
Yeah.
Bitcoin's capable of. So there's going to be hard feelings, but I just want civility in the space. That's all I
Yeah.
want. Civility. Yeah. Let's You should be able to sit down at a table with people who don't agree with you and not yell at each other. Let's start there, right? And
Is
so
that even possible though, Jeff?
it is. I'd make a career out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, you do, but
Mhm.
it's this
So
is this is one of the
maybe
big problems though, isn't it? It's like the
maybe
human instinct, the
yeah.
ego, and
So maybe I should, find out a way I can try to facilitate conversation. I don't know. I don't know. I have some interesting meetings set up in Prague, and I don't know where anything's headed. I don't know where I'm going to end up, what's going to happen. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe something big happens. But I'm trying to be part of the positive developments. Currently, I'm having conversations in regards to like agriculture production in developing countries and how that can be backed in. Have you heard of fair trade coffee?
uh,
That's where like you buy coffee beans, but like they make sure that the guy that grew the coffee in Ecuador or whatever actually got like a fair market price for that
okay,
coffee.
that's
Better
cool.
luck. So like you could implement there is a business model to create like fair trade in commodities all the way around, whether it's diamonds in Africa or lithium mining or gold or growing olives here in Albania or potatoes or wheat or grapes in Georgia. A way to help the village truly receive the benefits of their labor and then secure the payment they have in Bitcoin, right? So that their store of their energy is preserved in a non-diluting, non-inflationary asset. And I think uh, backing that company with a hard capital asset like Bitcoin's a great way to go. But this is all pie in the sky, kind of blue sky. Uh, just having conversations. If something triggers, I'll go work on it. But I'm just trying to have these conversations. So
Yeah, it's
there's the good news, right? There's the good news.
yeah, it's fascinating. It's. Can I ask you a question? Is that the moon rising in the background?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so because I thought that light's moved. It's not an alien.
No, no, I'm not an alien. That ear's too big. They wouldn't let me on the ship.
Dot the mothership come to pick Jeff up,
Yeah, right.
take him on his
Yeah.
travels. Ah, wicked
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, it's an interesting space, and
Mhm.
I'm sure this is where I believe like this is also early. There's so much that's going to happen on
Oh yeah.
over the next 10 years
Huh.
within the
Over the
space.
next 10 weeks.
Well, yeah, well, yeah, yeah. That's gonna this year is going to be fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Like
This
you can
year's already been
you can feel
pretty pretty
yeah.
wild. And I just was talking to someone today about, or the other day about that, how wild this year has been. And there's a lot more coming. Actually, sent Camel a message on X privately and just expressed, my gratitude again for all of the work that he does. He puts out a lot of positive energy, and so he deserves everything he gets that's good in life. And I just remarked, I know he doesn't stay plugged in to the same things I do, but it's like I see this confluence of very large pieces on the chessboard are moving, but they're moving on all the chessboards, the biggest chessboards, all at the same time. And in these environments, it becomes incredibly complex to predict more than two, three moves out what's going to happen. So, uh, I think we're going to be peppered with good news and bad. And it's all the good will be great and the bad will be terrible. And we don't know how that's going to shake out. Are we going to get an earthquake in Istanbul? Is Pakistan going to nuke India or vice versa? Hopefully those conflicts can be resolved and avoided, but mechanically in politics and in finance, there's changes that I've been tracking for a few years now. They're really starting to materialize, and because of the way the politics is um, um, writing its own story, it looks like the things that I've been tracking are going to become like I'm going to get to see those things materialize in real time. So I would keep an eye on the East,
Yeah.
and I think there's some surprises coming. Part of me wants to just like sit here and just like get on the record and just say what I think is happening based on what I know, but I don't
Little
want to piss.
hints.
I don't want to piss anybody off either.
Wait,
Because
wow.
well, I mean, I'm not going to piss off any of the guys in the pub.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I got to live in this world, man.
well,
I got
do
to
you
get
know?
off there. I got to get off the airplane and know that I'm not going to have a hard time. I don't like
Yeah,
it when they make me go talk in the box for a few hours.
it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I did a video on my other channel today, and I highlighted like how frustrated I get that I can't be as I don't feel that I can be as genuine as I want to be. And I find that getting into what you're saying, we should be able to just talk about what we talk about in a grown up way, express what we feel in a grown up way, and
Yeah.
move on in life and get over whatever shit that we need to get over. And it's a tough one, it really is.
You know,
And I've got to that dilemma now where I was,
some people get their feelings hurt, and it's a small world, and I think we kind of self censor because we don't want to burn bridges unnecessarily. We don't want to hurt feelings. The other part of that is you don't want to create a problem with your speech for someone that you couldn't like. Sometimes some things are not my business. I may know something, but it's not really my business. And if I go talking about that, I make someone else's business public, maybe in a way that they're not happy about or that's harmful. And so, and you don't know the unintended consequences of that. So we should, self censor to a degree, but we still have to balance that with wanting to have uh, genuine discussions in the arena of public debate in free discourse, where a man should be able to express his opinions and hear, point counterpoint, thesis, antithesis, synthesis, research, negotiate, resolve. And when we fracture a relationship by putting someone else's business out there in a time and place that they weren't ready for, you remove the negotiate part becomes antagonistic, and
yeah,
the resolution part becomes improbable.
yeah,
And Trump is a real good negotiator, and I mean he's phenomenal. Um, you I don't care if someone loves him or hates him, you cannot deny that Trump is a hell of a negotiator. It's just a fact. And the reason, one of the reasons he's a really good negotiator, if you read his book, Art of the Deal, he doesn't talk. Have you noticed there's no leaks from the Trump organization?
Yeah.
The guy runs a tight ship, right? It's like mafia rules, right? Like omerta, you're not allowed to speak to anybody outside of the club. And that makes sense. And you know, but you know, China operates that way from a different they come into the same place from it, but they come from a different direction, and so do the professionals in diplomacy, and so like real professional diplomats are really good about not minding everyone else's business publicly,
Yeah.
and I think that art of discretion has been lost. It's just sometimes I don't know if you can hear the fireworks. There's
No.
fireworks. Yeah, we're having an election here today.
Okay.
Um, and then anybody's birthday triggers fireworks all the time. The Balkans, they shoot fireworks every night at
Lovely.
midnight.
It's
Yeah.
cool.
Um, we need to make diplomacy diplomatic again. We need people to operate with honor and discretion and be
Yeah.
able to have good conversations. And
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense, dude, and that's very wise what you just said.
yeah. So, I
But
mean, there's so much I want to say. I can't.
yeah,
It just,
I'm the same, you know. I just want to really, you sit there and you really want to express yourself on what you feel through observation, and you're right, really. At the end of the day, some things we just, what's the point, you know? What
yeah,
really is the point of saying certain things
yeah.
when all it's going to do is maybe, yeah, you're right, to antagonize a situation that isn't ready to be antagonized.
What if I'm wrong too? What if I really
Exactly. Yeah.
know something, but I'm wrong,
Yeah.
right? And then and then I end up trolling people or calling someone's character into question unnecessarily.
Yeah.
And, I mean, dueling's not legal in most of the world, but you know, some of the places I travel, it essentially is still kind of the way it works. And that's why civil society is civil because you have to own your shit.
Yeah.
And if say something bad about somebody in the caucuses, everyone's going to believe me, and that's going to get back to that guy. And if that ain't true, uh, there's going to be a meeting.
Yeah.
There's going to be a pretty public figuring it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So because of that, people aren't rude, you know, on the street. They're considerate. I mean, there's cultural nuance there, but you know, like with personal space and other things. Um, but no, I mean, by and large, like in the Balkans, in the Caucasus, in the stands, in the Arab world, um, you know, you got to watch it because people take you at your word, and if
Yeah.
you say something, they believe you. You have to own that, and they never forget it.
Yeah.
I discovered the most powerful weapon in the Balkans the other day. I mean, like without a doubt, the most powerful weapon. And it's an old woman with a broom because they walk around and they're cleaning. They see everything, they hear everything, they know everything, they all talk to each other, you know. And it's like they are like subconsciously able to like upload gossip across town at the speed of light, right? They're like quantumly entangled. And these women can be your best friend or your worst enemy. But like, as long as the old lady crew with the brooms loves you, like nobody can touch you. It's the most powerful weapon in the Balkans.
Yeah.
Is
I can
old lady with
imagine.
the broom.
I can imagine, actually, to be fair. It sounds like a really cool way of life, though. Really old school, old fashioned, trust
It is.
orientated.
Yeah.
Um,
Heavy emphasis on community here. Um, as much as like the Serbs and the Albanians don't get along, and they all talk shit about each other, and they all believe things about each other that aren't necessarily true. I mean, some of them are, but I mean, stereotypes are there for a reason. They really have like so much in common that you can't just say that out loud.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, you can. Some people they laugh. Oh yeah, I guess we do.
yeah,
But the folks from Albania that have worked in Belgrade and the folks from Belgrade that have been here in Tirana or have business here, when I talk to them, yeah, they laugh about it because
yeah,
it's
I'm sure.
it's like there's no difference, no difference for the same. I mean, different people,
Yeah,
but very, very strikingly similar cultures, and even
yeah,
into Western Greece, or Northern Greece, same way. Macedonia, same way. Um, Montenegro, same way. Bosnia, same way. Kosovo, same way.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, wicked stuff, wicked stuff. So, what is from our great foreign correspondent? Is there anything that you've noticed? Any changes recently? Anything that you can say, or
Um,
anything interesting going on
uh,
that you
yeah.
can say? Obviously.
So yeah, there was something I really wanted to bring up a few days ago. I was thinking about you. I can't remember what in the world it was. I've just been in a whirlwind. Um, oh yeah, I went to a expat meetup, which I very rarely do. I kind of like just don't do that. And I talked to a guy from Greece, a gal from Germany, and another guy from here who spent significant amount of time, I think, in other places in Europe, in the world. And these guys are BTC maximalists, and like they get it, and they trade, uh, they self custody their life, right? They take responsibility for their life. Um, some of those conversations were really good. And I thought one of those would be really good for an interview for you for your podcast, if you're
Yeah,
interested.
definitely. Yeah, for sure.
I'll see if somebody's interested. And then a driver that I have here has found Bitcoin recently, and he asked me, what do you think about Bitcoin? I was like, no, he asked the right guy. And so I actually took him out and we spent time together and gave him some great things to research, and you know, gave him some guidance. I did give him financial advice. Don't sell your house and your car, and like, you got a successful business. Just put a little extra away, but learn about it. I talked to him about silver and gold. Talked to him about monetary debasement. Explained how inflation worked with like some coffee cups on the table. He's young. He's in his 20s, early 20s.
Wicked. That's
You
just
can
so
just
cool
you,
to
you
know
can
that.
you can see the wheels turning, and
Yeah,
it's like explosions of like, oh wow, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And it's like, yeah. And then another kid here who's a waiter, he's like 17. Um, he's really into trading, and he was in some obscure ass memes or something. And I talked him down off that cliff. So
that's good.
it's like
Yeah,
you're trying to
yeah,
buy a lot. When Camel said you're buying a lottery like that, when he said lottery ticket, you made that analogy. That
yeah,
one stuck with me. It's in my
yeah.
vernacular now. Yeah, I was like, you're buying lottery tickets, dude.
Well, you are, aren't you? It's mad. Have you noticed an increase recently in people asking you about Bitcoin?
I have, but I've also been more social than usual. I'm usually not very social.
Okay.
I'm like randomly. I don't like to meet strangers, um, like for the sake of meeting strangers. Um, when I go out and meet people, I'm doing research,
Yeah.
and so I come at it a different way. Um, I guess
Hmm.
it's almost indistinguishable if you're watching me what I'm doing, but it seems like I'm being social, but I'm really not. I'm working. Um, I put it this way: when you, um, well, I worked as a private investigator for a little while, and in security. And when you want to know something is what's going on in a company, a lot of times the best thing to do is to go take a job as a janitor or work the line, right? Just go to the factory floor and like you're going to learn a lot more about the company working there than you are going into the sales office and listening to the gal in the mini skirt and the high heels flirt with you and show you the brochures and all the great charts. And so part of due diligence in business sometimes is discovering, you know, what the signal is and what the noise is. And you come at that from different directions. So when I go to look at a country or a region or city or company um, for a customer or for my own, files, um, I go at it from the perspective of, how do the regular people live? What's life really like, in Albania? So I don't live in the community I could live in, which is where the horse stables, the security guards and all the shit is, and the girls with the big lips, and everybody's dressed up all the time. I go live in a working class neighborhood. I make working class friends. I go to working class businesses. I talk to people, and that helps me over a period of time get a real good sense for what's the culture like, what's daily life like, what are the stressors, what's working here, what's not working, what are they doing they shouldn't be doing, what are they not doing that they should be doing. Start asking those questions, and some things are common to humanity and some things are really unique to the location or to the culture. And like geography, can't change geography, and that's going to be different everywhere you go.
Yeah.
uh, that's just one example. So that's how I really find signals. So very rarely do I actually go out for the sake of going out and just like have a normal conversation. But lately, I have done it a couple of times, and Bitcoin has come up without my prompting, um, maybe three-quarters of the time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I've had people that I've known around the space for the last 3 years that all know they all know that I do, I have an interest in Bitcoin. And a few people have started to ask me, "Oh, is this? Tell me a little bit more." All of a
Yeah,
sudden, just tell me a little bit more. And I wondered whether that was well, I was trying to work out. I wonder why that is. Is that like we're in that part of the cycle now where people start to come in because they're taking notice of price movement?
sure. Yeah, it's
Uh,
getting on the
uh,
news.
yeah, it seems to be more and more on
Yeah.
around the news. People talking about it more.
A lot of the
Uh,
refugees from the last cycle are starting to show up.
yeah,
I've been on the sidelines forever and it keeps moving. They're like, okay, well, maybe now.
yeah, yeah.
those
This
guys, those
it's
guys are going to get wrecked. He's just if
well,
he off just buying the top and not selling and just round tripping,
yeah,
they would be trying to, run in and grab something and leave.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, um, yeah. But yeah, people seem to be seeking more education
mm,
and knowledge. It's not just like oh, this is this cool thing.
mm,
Hurry and do it. It's more people are like, okay. That's like the longer it's around in uh, popular life, and the more years go by and it's still there, at some point, more people begin to acknowledge it
yeah,
and say, okay, well, I've heard about this for 8 years.
yeah,
What is it? Or I've heard about this for 4 years. What is it?
yeah,
And that varies, I think, by region pretty greatly, depending on the economic stressors
yeah,
that are present. But I would say in more developing countries, I'm more likely to meet people interested or already using blockchain
yeah,
than I am in the developed countries.
yeah, yeah, for
Because
sure.
the people on the periphery of the monopoly are the first to engage with innovation because they don't have anything to lose. They're already down. You live in like the worst place or whatever. And so like,
Yeah.
what have you got to lose? You might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where the use cases are proven, right? So innovation is going to, and, quantum change is going to happen at distance from the monopoly. But then at some point, the monopoly steps in and tries to co-opt or join the race or evolve or something. So we're seeing that conversation in the U.S. with Bitcoin Reserve, which would be huge, would be very very big. I don't know though. I don't know that it's going to get adopted universally if the U.S. doesn't. And I suspect I don't have any evidence, but I'm planning a large trip to Asia.
Yes, I think you've mentioned that.
Yeah. Well, apart from the Silk Road,
Okay.
different trip. This will be an Asia trip. I'll probably do like Singapore, China, Korea, Japan, Indonesia. Um,
I should look forward to those pods.
yeah, and so I don't have this like the anecdotal sampling. I have my own interactions with people. We had just had a huge like international cycling race come through
Okay.
Tirana.
Yeah. Oh,
The
yes. I saw the pictures. So
figure
yeah.
they
Yeah.
tell you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's cool. Like I got to meet guys from Japan and from other places. But I didn't have enough time to really talk to them. But no, I mean, I like to look at the exchange places. Do they have a Bitcoin emblem? Like when you go to Georgia, in Tbilisi, every exchange place does Bitcoin.
Wow.
Every and Budapest, almost every exchange in Budapest does Bitcoin. Um, but the exchange offices in Belgrade, they don't. You can still interact with people that do. You can peer to peer in Serbia. There's some rules. Every country's got different regulations. But in Dubai, I haven't been to Dubai, but in Dubai, I hear it's very easy to transact in Bitcoin. I have a friend who's Emirati who lives in Abu Dhabi, and uh, yeah, I know they're big into Bitcoin there.
Is that the
So
person that you mentioned
yeah, yeah,
last
yeah.
time? Yeah. Yeah.
Faisal, yeah. He's a commodities guy.
Yeah.
But if I think it's like natural if you're a gold bug or a silver bug to end up in Bitcoin. I
Well,
think it's like it's
you
like
met,
a
I can't believe no one would, if you understand that.
yeah, I mean I can understand some guys are I'm an ape, I'm sitting on Comex bars in the garden that I painted red and I'm never doing anything. I get that. I'm not mad at that guy at all. But I think, given an opportunity for that guy to have, when we talked about not stressing people, right, for future negotiation, giving that guy an opportunity to see a use case on his own. Oh, that happened to me recently, actually. This is a recent gold bug convert and I were talking, and he said, I got one problem right now. And that's like, it's not easy to move this around. Like, I'm worried, like, where am I going to put it? What if I got to fly somewhere? How
Well,
am I
he's
supposed to
gold.
fly? Yeah, he's a
Oh,
gold
right.
bug.
Okay.
And I said, this is you're literally Bitcoin is your answer. Like, leave your stack where it is. Okay, like just don't move it. But if you need portable wealth, that should be in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Your static wealth, this guy's pretty he got pretty deep roots where he is. He ain't moving. Okay, cool. Throw the gold in the safe or whatever, but get some Bitcoin and memorize 12 words or walk around with a ledger in your pocket. It's easy to hop on a plane
Yeah.
and go where you want. You got a little bit of money when you get there. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So yeah, the natural progression. I wish if you give me a minute, if you got to go to the loo, I can use the boys' room too. I'm gonna go get some of the coins I got when I was in Greece to show you some of those.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I
Just
just pulled.
describing the tide of like monetary debasement, silver, and like how much silver, and how that changed, and yeah,
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I just pause it.
yeah.
before we go there, the reason why I asked about if people were asking you, I was doing a job. I'm plumbing and heating engineer, got my own business. I was doing a job for a customer. I think they're about in their 70s, quite elderly,
Okay.
retired. Did the job for. I'm well pleased. Always have a cup of tea with my customers that I've known for years and years and years afterwards. And we're sitting there chatting just generally. And the lady said to me, she said, "Oh, things are really weird though, but I really can't get my head around this Bitcoin thing." And I sat there and I thought, wow, that's the last person I expected to even mention it. And I thought afterwards, I thought we very briefly, exchanged a, a little bit of conversation through that. But very, very, afterwards, I sat there and I thought, wow, it is really getting out into, the mainstream of people now. Because that just took
Perme-
me,
Permeating.
yeah, and that again is another signal to me. You like your signals?
Yeah, network effect. It's the
Yeah,
network.
yeah, yeah.
This one horse, one buggy. You ever heard one horse, one buggy? Or oh, one buggy, one car?
No.
There's a picture of New York City.
Oh, yes. Sorry. Yeah, I know the one.
So there's only one car, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like 20 years later, there's only one buggy.
Buggy. That's it. Yeah, yeah,
That's that's the network effect of mass adoption, right? I
yeah.
think we all kind of underestimate it. Uh, this cycle in particular, I think the analytics, the alpha of quantitative and qualitative technical analysis is enormous compared to the previous cycle. We got more ways of measuring, more data streams, right? Like, and people are like, there's a like Kimasabi, like that guy is phenomenal, and
Yeah,
he's like a ton of followers. But like, that's that network of it. Like that information permeated and created traders like Chemo and Cobra, right?
yeah.
Um, so it's undeniable. The network effect is real. And
It is.
look how having an open mind to learning something that you don't know about has impacted their lives for the positive. And I'm incredibly proud of them for the work that they've done. And even if this shit all blows up in your face, you were still the man in the arena. You went and did it when everyone else was a spectator. And uh, yeah, so my hat's off to anybody collecting any coins or stacking silver or getting into gold or getting into Bitcoin. Anybody that's just trying something new and trying to learn something and better themselves, they're getting better with the best weapon they have. That's their mind,
Yeah,
right? They're improving their mind. They're improving yourself. You're going to fail. So what? You fail forward and you try again, right? Most of the businesses I ever dealt with myself that I tried to run failed. They were disasters. They sucked. They were terrible. I made stupid decisions, or I overestimated, the market or my own ability, or I underestimated. Man, that's part of life. That's just
it
learning.
is. Yeah,
It's easy. You dust yourself off and you just go again.
yeah.
So I'm at a place of calm now. I don't really care what happens. I'm more of a fatalist with it. You know, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna apply myself, and if it doesn't happen, that's fine. I don't,
That's
I don't,
cool.
I don't need to be.
Yeah,
I don't have a weird goal in my head I need to achieve. But I've also, I've done a lot, and so I may be in a different place.
it is. It's fascinating. I've really so this is my fourth year around Bitcoin, silver, and gold, and I would not. I do not regret the mistakes I've made. I do not regret, and I don't regret anything, Jeff, because
Where-
I've learned so much
That's what
from.
got the
Yeah,
space galaxy and the big glass of whiskey behind you and the podcast. Like, I mean, look at you now. You're just like relax. You earned it. You earned it. You earned every stripe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But it's just fascinating. It's what was I who was I talking to? I think I was talking to my oldest boy today, just generally, and we was talking about work and chasing careers and how difficult it is now for young people to even get their heads around what a career actually means.
Sure.
And I said to him, I
Different.
said, like, well, the big problem is most of the time, from my own experience, I've always chased the money because I thought the money was the end of, or the money was the result of the end of what I was trying to achieve. And he said, "Yeah, I get that, Dad." And I said, "But what I didn't learn at a younger age, is that if I'd flipped that and just took a little bit less concentration and stress about away from the money, and applied myself without that stress, then I quickly realized that the money followed." And the
Yeah.
money wasn't quite as important. And he said, "Yeah, that makes sense." And I said, that's something you can try and do when you're, trying to improve yourself, Don't let the money dictate the result, let you dictate the result and let the money follow you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Does that make sense to you?
You see you see the character of the individual played out on online, especially on X, where a lot of guys are having conversations. And you see that the different characters played out. Some guys are just in it for the money.
Yeah.
And as a result, um, like uh Tony the Bull, do you follow him on
I don't
X?
follow him, no, but obviously Camel talks a lot about him, and I see the videos.
Tony took a public short and owned it. I mean, he had his charts, he has data. He's been right for a long time. He kind of called a local top, which is right now is currently the all-time high. But I mean, he has a system, and he made a call, and he was public about it, and he got raked over the coals by some people for that, and have fun staying poor, bro. And what they don't realize is, um, I mean, yeah, we're all in it for the profit, right? But he has a disciplined system. He's a mature person, and he's making his call public. He didn't have to make that call public, right? He could have just took it. He's he has his own strategy, and he's working it, and he's stuck to his guns, and his short got stopped, and he doesn't have any wounds to lick because he's disciplined. He has risk reward instituted, and he's not taking unnecessary exposure on a single trade or what. I mean, these are the lessons that the young guys that are commenting and flaming haven't learned yet. They're gonna get wiped out. They're
Yeah.
gonna go open on Fartcoin or whatever.
Yeah.
Here you go, bro.
Yeah.
And it just they're not. And so it's ironic because those guys would benefit the most from just watching Camel's free instruction videos on
Yeah.
risk reward, right? Or like those guys would benefit the most from the guys they're flaming, and they
Yeah.
don't see. And that's, they say youth is wasted on the young. And I've always despised that saying. It's not. I mean, those guys are in their space where they're learning, and maybe they have to get wrecked a few times. Hopefully, they make it, right? And when they grow up, they'll be welcome to the conversation. But I even benefit from their trolling remarks because it helps me realize, um, that there's another side to this, and you can be that way, and or you can be glad you're not. And when those guys show up, I'm like, wow, that guy's he's, he's not nice, and I'm glad I'm not that way.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I always try to be encouraging when I interact online. I do. I really,
Yeah, I see
even if
that.
I have something critical to say, I try to say it in a constructive way that pursues a conversation. I'm not trying to make a point to win. I'm just trying to have a conversation. Because on the other side of that, if I disagree with someone and I'm trying to make a point, and I do it in a conversational way, sometimes I find out that they have some very valid viewpoints that I hadn't considered, and it changes my opinion. And
100%.
you have to be open. I just talked about that the other day. Like strong convictions loosely held. right? Like and when the data says otherwise, I pivot. And that's what the data says. Tony's data said go short here. He went short. And you know what? Had he been right though, had he been right, would those same guys come back like, oh, you're the no,
You're a hero. You're a god.
yeah.
It's
I took
mad. It's a weird world. I'm glad I'm older and I don't get so involved with it all, really, to be fair. But
I took a tactical short at 95, but I not off of a long. I sniped the bottom. I got 78, and I took a tactical short in 94, and I rebought at 95. So whatever. Whatever. It was a Sunday night. Everything was eerily quiet. And when I say everything, like I'm not just listening to finance guys and following finance guys. I'm having private conversations in my inbox and in politics and in other things. And everything in the whole world got quiet. It doesn't happen very often. When it does, something big's cooking. And I was just like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm up like
yeah,
15% on that. And I think I'll just close it out, sit in cash and wait. And then
yeah.
there's like, yeah, let's get back in. What the
Yeah,
hell?
I admire you, dude, because I don't do trading whatsoever. I really
I
don't.
I don't trade the longs. The spot bag from back in the days intact.
Yeah,
And I only really the only thing I mean those trades I said the tactical bag. This is just peanuts. It's small stuff. Um, but I do trade the gold to Bitcoin ratio exclusively, and that's the real trade for me. And it's spot for physical, and that's I mean like if any time I'm caught off sides, I'm fine. I'm good. And I don't ever sell all for, I don't swing it all. I just keep exposure and I swing the middle and try to grow each side. Every year or two you make a trade and that's about it. It's
yeah,
not that bad. Maybe the smartest thing, maybe the dumbest thing. I don't know.
yeah,
So so I was in Greece and I saw this piece of graffiti and it was like Aristotle and Plato talking to each other,
yeah,
and it was a play on words. I'll find the photo. It was a play on words about going from the drachma to the euro and how that was disruptive to Greek society. And so it was like a real artistic piece of graffiti. And ironically, it was like on the same street as three coin shops. So I had appointments at all those shops. I went in. I like to talk to coin guys because they know a lot and they know the history and they're generally speaking pretty good informed guys. And it's nice to have a network at coin stores. If I need something, usually if I call a coin guy, he can figure it out for me. Like sometimes it's like where to go get dinner.
yeah.
Uh,
For networking.
yeah, is your president cool or not? I'm gonna find this piece of graffiti. I gotta go through all my kids' photos because they took my phone.
Are they okay? Family good?
Yeah, everybody's great. Kids are happy.
Excellent.
They've been riding horses. What else? What else do they need? Yeah,
Don't
I have
need
no.
anything else, do they?
Uh, they don't need nothing. Those kids are spoiled. Right? I can't find a photo. Anyways,
No worries.
it's not. This has been a real like drachma or drag on since it was English graffiti using the drachma and the euro. It's not. It's not all euro fault, and it was like a commentary on how that change in the money, which happened when Greece went bankrupt. Remember,
Yeah,
Greece went bankrupt. Their economy got destroyed, and to a large degree hasn't really recovered. And but they brought the euro in, and so anyway, so I went looking for older coins, and so that's what I found. So this is let's see if I can get a better light here. These are the oldest coins I have. This is God, I don't want to get it wrong. I don't know how many. Anyway, this is an older Greek drachma.
Oh, wow.
This is like it's upside down. It's not sterling. It's less than that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's held up well.
Yeah, it's got all the detail there still, isn't it?
It does. It does. I don't have my glasses on, but I think this is from the 40s or earlier. So,
Jeff, can you do me a favor
yeah,
afterwards? Could you
yeah,
send me some pictures of those and I'll tag
yeah,
them into
absolutely.
probably I'll put them in as a thumbnail.
Absolutely. Here's the same coin.
Thank you.
Yeah. But a later version with even less silver in it. This is from 1960. And so, yeah, and you can tell silver bugs know just touching it, right?
Okay.
There's a 20 drachma.
Wow.
That's even, oh, you can hear it. It's like, there's the one first, there's the second. You can just, silver guys, they know it. Coin guys,
Right.
you hear it, you're like, ah, you know,
Okay. So
trash.
so how much silver's in those?
I think the first one is 80 or 85%.
Okay.
And then the next one's like 40%. And then you get into the more modern one. This is a 10 drachma from the 50s. And this is like 10. There's like nothing on it, man. It's like
That
it's still
that
shiny,
is yeah.
it doesn't really have any.
Oh wow.
So that's I don't even know if this coin has any silver in it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So there's the debasement. And then here's this is an older 50 from 1982. So this is a 1982 50 drachma. And I think this one is like 70 or 80% silver. This one's in really good shape.
That is, yeah. Jesus.
Paid spot for these.
Really?
Was it? Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, I go in, I have a conversation, we talk forever, and he's like, "Yeah, just give me spot." Thanks, buddy.
Fair enough.
Um, this is a 30 drachma.
That's
This one
cool.
it
I
has
like
some.
that. I like that
This
design.
one, this one has some tone on it,
Yeah.
and here's the face.
I like
Yeah,
that. That's really
I'll
nice.
send you some pictures, and
Yeah,
then
thank you.
one
Did you?
last coin. And so I usually try to buy like the currency of the realm that was in different periods, and then I
Okay.
try to buy something lower mintage. And so this is yeah. So this is a 990.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
the mintage is 1,000.
Yep.
It's a cool coin. I'll pull it out of the case here. It's in a capsule. This is a beautiful coin here.
Oh, wow.
Try to give different angles and stuff. Yeah, you see that.
1940 is that?
Here's the obverse. This is 1,000 drachma, like collector's coin,
Yeah.
limited mintage. And
Very
it's a
nice too.
rated premium, but happy to do it for a coin guy, right? And this one's going to go, with me back home one day and go right into the collection.
Yeah.
Um, I have coins from a lot of different places,
Yeah.
and I love them. I don't have my Serbia coin with me. I have a Tito coin from Serbia.
All right. Okay.
I'm reading Tito, but yeah, I'll send you some photos. But it is always nice to see how when you look at the history of what was going on in the country at the time, it's
Yeah.
reflected in the currency always,
Okay.
always, without exception. And so, and no matter where you go, there's literally no exception to that rule. And so you look at what's going on in gold today, and we live in a dollar-based system. It's like a petrodollar, and yeah, gold's telling you a story, right? It's telling you a story. It says, hey, it ain't what it used to be. So funny enough, the old man at one of the coin shops told me that his father had an option to cash out a pension for some government job he had. And so I think his dad would have been, um, uh, you know, a young adult in World War II. And it was before the war, something had happened, and he was just getting into coin collecting, and he decided to just go out and buy all silver coins. He cashed out and bought all silver coins. That after the war, that's what bought the building that the business is still in today.
Oh,
That the family's still running. They own the building, and yeah, I've heard similar stories like that every time I'm meeting coin people or metals guys. You hear the same story. Yeah, my uncle, he put it all in gold, and then the Soviets came, and we lived off that gold for 40 years.
yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? I find it absolutely
Yeah.
fascinating. Have you heard that? I don't know how true, and I might be getting this wrong, but is Italy bringing out their first bullion silver coin?
Ooh, I don't know if they are. Send me some details because, like,
Oh,
I'm
I
right
heard.
across the road. I'm
Well, that's
like
I thought of you
hop
actually.
on a ferry and I can just like go over there and grab a few, man. Like, you want one? I'll get you
Yeah.
one.
Oh, I'll send you the money. No worries, dude. Let me just, I'm
Just
just going to Google it.
American.
But I heard it yesterday, and I'm sure someone posted a picture of it.
That would be
Uh,
great. Hungary's got some really cool coins.
have they?
Oh yeah. Georgia has coins. Azerbaijan. I have some cool coins from Azerbaijan.
Okay.
Um, I have some cool coins from Qatar, like Ottoman silver. It's
Oh,
in the collection at home.
there we go, dude. I'll share my screen.
All right.
Oh God, how do you do that? Oh, here we go. Think you should be able to see that. Can you see it?
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Oh wow, look at that.
Italy's
That
first,
too.
yeah. Italy's first ever Italian silver bullion coin features flora and fauna theme.
Wow, La Margarita, the daisy.
Yeah.
Hmm.
New coins mark Italy's entry into the bullion market with the first release of a traditional silver crown size coin since 1914.
The 3.9 fine, 5 lira face value. Love it. It's a sovereign.
Yeah.
Is it 1 ounce?
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, one
yes, it
ounce.
is. Yes, yes, it is. Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
That looks
Nice.
really nice, doesn't it?
That's
Limited mintage of 16,000. Oh, they were available from the 28th of January. So they've gone, no doubt.
no, 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 no. They're not gone. No, the coin guys will have them. I mean,
Really?
yeah, you're not gonna pay what he paid.
Oh, of course not. No. But I just
Oh,
thought, wow,
I'll
what a
be in Ro-
lovely.
I'll be in Rome in July.
Oh man, Jesus, just let me know and I'll send you whatever.
I don't know if Bitcoin would just whip up and like grab 160, I'd be in Italy like next week.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, man.
Whatever.
Well, I'll meet you there, dude.
We.
But that's quite exciting, isn't it? When you get a release
Okay.
like that.
Yeah, I'll stay in touch with you. Let me know. I have some cool coin shops I can hit in Rome. And I know a guy in Milan. And yeah, I'm trying to grab it.
Bit of history there.
Yeah, love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest,
Really?
those sort of things I don't mind paying a premium for at all
No,
because
no, 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 not at
they're,
all. Yeah, yeah.
they are a Yeah, they're a piece of history, aren't they?
That's not an investment for me. That's that goes in the library.
That's a talking point.
It is. I don't have a lot of photos. I don't have a lot of keepsakes from everywhere I go, but I have coins. And I actually keep cash too. I keep a little bit of cash, and I have a bunch of blank envelopes, and I write down the country and the dates I was there, and I try to keep every denomination of coinage and cash in circulation at the time. Within reason. I know I'm not going to have 100 euro, but I have older euro coins that are made of heavier gauge brass than the current iteration of euro coins. And I love to keep both of those side by side in the library to show people even the coin that's shit, that's backed by nothing, still got debased.
Yeah. But it's still
It's
cool to have, isn't it?
it is. It is. It's a lesson. It's history. It goes in my library because like when we talk about your travels, you say, "Hey, let me show you. Here's they use the manat here, or they use the drachma, or they used to use the drachma. Um, the Albanian lek. If you read the wiki on the history of the Albanian lek, this country used to have one of the strongest currencies in the world because the Venetians were here. And it was gold. It was gold backed.
Okay, yeah.
100%. Even their paper bills ended up gold backed. And even when Italy had hard times, they would come and use Albanian currency. They would trade to get Albanian currency to bring it back. The lek was super strong. I mean, it's not as strong today, but I mean, it has that history in the past when it was sound money. It was solid, and it gives the people a way to store their wealth
Yeah.
that's unconfiscatable.
It's important, isn't it? It's important to understand and realize that
Yeah.
because otherwise you just I don't know, another thing that I've learned getting older. Otherwise you've got nothing to show for that time and effort, that energy, that you just got nothing to show for it.
Call it
Because
what
if it's
20,
if it is
40
all
years
just stored in fiat denominated product, then it's just well,
for
it's just
what?
eroding away, isn't it? So
So I did a bit of real estate for a while, and would do distressed properties or estates,
yeah,
like the house got to get remodeled or whatever. And because grandma died, we always remarked how when sometimes it's helping friends or whatever, but you go in there and grandma and grandpa, most of the stuff they have is thrown away, isn't worthless.
yeah.
And they have all this stuff, the tchotchkes, that brought grandma so much joy. The salt and pepper shakers from all 50 US states, and she didn't even visit those states. She never even left the county. She bought them online or something, or on the TV, or at a shop somewhere. It's okay for people to find joy and happiness in that, but I wish they would learn to find joy and happiness and value that they could actually pass on. Because I've done some estates, one in particular, they the kids were adamant. They called the kids didn't live where he lived. The guy that I knew was a friend of mine. He lived down the street from me when I lived in the wilderness. And when he died, the kids were like, get really concerned about who would go into the house because all his shit had real value. He even had silver in the clothes washer behind the panel.
Bloody
He,
hell.
he had this shit everywhere. Guns and silver and
Yeah,
gold and it's just everything's worth everything had value.
yeah,
And yeah. And so I he was a miser. He was a wealthy guy. He lived a regular life, but he was a real miser. And I want my kids to learn that too, like store value, you
yeah.
know. For their birthdays, we usually let them get on the bullion website and pick out a coin,
That's it. That's exactly what I do with mine.
silver coin.
Yeah,
And they have them. They have a huge collection. And
100%.
and they love it. And they look at it and they look at the spot price. Hey, Dad, what's this going for?
Yeah,
Oh, count up your stack. Go get online and look. Hey, I'm up. Yeah.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's a great thing to learn. Well, it's an incredibly powerful thing to learn from a young age. It
yeah,
really is.
you
Um,
can't unlearn it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. Um,
yeah, it's a big lesson of well, it wasn't a lesson. That's a big thing that I've personally found really difficult. Once the penny dropped, you've got a choice. You either ignore what you know, or you can't ignore what you know. And I choose not to ignore it now. So
and when you do, you some people do ignore it. They hear it, and then they go right back to sleep, and it bothers them, and they live with that regret. And I know it bothers them the rest of their life. They'll never talk about it. They'll never admit it. But in their quiet moments, when they're all alone with their thoughts, that nags at them. And I don't want to live my life where my quiet moments are filled with those nagging thoughts. So I'm propelled to action, so I don't become that guy. Yeah, you walk in, there's a organization in America called the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And I'm not a member and I don't go hang out with them because they always run bars. And anytime you go to that bar, it's always full of drunk guys who
yep,
are talk,
reminiscing.
talking about the same old thing.
Yep,
And most of them didn't do a damn thing anyway. But what gnaws at them is the regret that they could have done more and they didn't. And that's why they're at that bar. And that's where you go to die. Your soul goes to die there. And I can't do it. I have very, very few friends that were in the service. The ones I do are high quality, high signal guys, but most of them got their own shit to work out. Leave them alone. Yeah. Uh, speaking of veterans, there's going to be a lot more of them in the world here shortly. Ukraine's going to come to an end,
yeah,
and there's already talk about where those guys that fought there are going to be welcome and where they're not going to be welcome. And it's a tough spot. It's guys in Israel that are in the army have a hard time traveling. Once people find they're out in the IDF, they don't want them in their establishment or whatever. Your decisions follow you, but that that tension in the world is increasing. It's not going away. I mean, there's going to be good news, trade deal, with China, and maybe there's a ceasefire in Ukraine, and India and Pakistan aren't going at it right now, and everybody's going to think happy days. Maybe Trump pulls off a peace deal here in the Middle East on this trip. I think it's quite possible. Actually, I think it's highly probable that Trump on this Middle East trip is going to in Riyadh with Mohammed bin Salman is going to facilitate a meeting with Lebanon, the Palestinian Authority, and proxies from Hamas. And there may be some kind of a solution in the works. That's my guess. I don't have any inside information there, but I consume information a lot. And when signals change, I pick up on it really fast. And I've been doing this long enough, I know where it goes. So, but that even if we ended this like great summer of peace, um, you know, these old rivalries are still there. And those tensions, though they get buried in the short term, have a tendency to just simmer under pressure and then explode. So do not allow the narrative to fool you or lull you into a sense of complacency about the dangers that really exist in the world.
yeah.
And I have a feeling that something big is going to happen um, this year, probably in the fall. I just can't shake it, and it makes sense from a lot of different perspectives. The cycles, the camel will tell you, the cycles, and there's something to that. You can't dismiss that.
No,
There's valid signal there, but that's only a reflection of one aspect of the whole globe.
yeah,
But there's other signals that most people don't track or want to talk about. And uh, the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRICS currency, all these things continue to progress behind the scenes. It's not on your news, but I know for a fact there's still things happening. And at some point, there's going to be enough pressure where something's going to give. And I think there's so many uh, ignition points currently in the globe that if those all get kind of simultaneously tamped down, that when one goes, they're all going to go. And the world's going to be a very different place 12 months from now. Just, you know, think about how many territorial disputes exist in the world, which just name a few, right? Ireland and Northern Ireland, um, Spain and Catalonia, Moldova and Transnistria, Serbia and Kosovo, um, Hungary and a region in Romania and Ukraine. There's some tension there. Georgia with Ossetia and Abkhazia, and Ossetia is what it's called in Russia, and Georgia it's called Tiskin Valley. So I don't want to say the wrong word and not acknowledge the sides. And then Israel and Palestine, and then Kashmir between India and Pakistan, and then um, Nagorno-Karabakh is just taken by Azerbaijan back from Armenia, but there's still the Zangadar corridor that's in play. There's and the list could go on and on and on. Those are the small kind of tertiary ones, except for India and Pakistan. That's pretty big. China and Taiwan. There's another one, right? That's a big one. It's a big, Russia and Ukraine. These are disputed territory conflicts, and they're being tamped down. But those disputes don't go away. These arguments are ancient. They're old, and it's almost in the DNA of these people to hate the other side and to want to have that argument. So just be, I like it when like one flares up and like it's kind of isolated and it involves everyone like trying to have a voice on either side. But when they're all kind of having experiencing tension simultaneously, you have to pay attention to that. And you have to say, if one of these goes, there just aren't enough troops.
No,
And so they'll all go because that'll be your shot. If everyone's fighting, right? When the lights go out and the police can't come, that's when all the neighborhood disputes get settled, right? It's like,
it's
one
it's
day, one
it's
day there'll be a power outage, and me and the boys are going to go down the street and settle the score from 20 years ago.
very true. It's extremely true, and unless that's spread out of generation after generation after generation, it's always going to
Yeah,
be the case.
there's a perspective on either side to those each one of those fights,
Of
and
course.
and but what I focus on is that's a possibility. And so the other thing you have to look at is that in this time of the dollar being incredibly debased, Bitcoin is coming into existence right after the great financial crisis. Some might say in response to it, right? Some might say by design, some might say by fate. Doesn't matter. Look at the timing of that and how that can's just been kicked down the road through quantitative easing and money printing. And here we are experiencing the chickens coming home to roost. And at the same time, all the natives are restless. And when you want to be a Bitcoin maxi, it is a temptation to take on like an anarcho-capitalist, like utopian view of how the future is going to be. But the path to get there, let's say it does happen, is going to be incredibly violent, incredibly disruptive, and it's going to hurt people and it's going to break things. And so as this new change is coming, this fourth turning, whatever you want to call it, as that's coming, you do not let your guard down. You just emotionally prepare yourself for things change, and sometimes for the better, and sometimes for the worse. And if you have a solid worldview and a good strategy, it really shouldn't matter that much to you, right? When I lived in the woods, the pandemic happened. Uh, you know, I still woke up the next day and cut firewood and went fishing and, you know, worked on the house, tilled the potato field, I still did all the normal things. That stuff was on my mind, and who's coming over the house, and is this a real disease, or is this a psyop, or all those things you have to work through, and that can produce stress. But find your normal routine and stride of working in HVAC, right? Heating and cooling. Hey, you got a normal routine, a normal process for working that job. Look to that routine for some stability. Just so my advice to people stacking, kind of hoping the world shakes up so you can move up a level maybe or just survive. Um, you know, take care of yourself up here and in your heart and look for your routine, ground yourself, especially if we get a little bit of a reprieve here for a few months. This is a great time to go ahead and just recheck your safeties and say, okay, just have a couple days worth of food, you know, have a little bit of cash, you know, go through the ledger, do an update or your Trezor, right? Like update your firmware, make sure go through your process. Just go through your preps, go through whatever you got to go through and say, okay, this is what I'll do. And I'm kind of prepared, and then use those happy times to do that with a calm head, and then enjoy your summer, touch grass, love the family, kiss the wife, right? Say hi to the kids, and then it doesn't matter what happens. You can't control it. That's the other thing. We can't control what's about to happen.
Nope.
But I don't have a very optimistic outlook for the end of the year. I just don't. Man, it's
Yeah, it's an
gonna be
interesting one because
brutal.
I can relate to it because it does feel I have to check myself on this, Jeff, really. I really have to check my emotions on it sometimes because things do feel like okay, I've got to be careful what I say here. Things can feel like what you've just said, and I can very easily consume that narrative and expression of energy into
Yeah.
making it my everyday feeling.
Yep.
Okay.
Or every moment feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also have to try to remember that there is a flip. There's always a flip.
Yeah.
I believe the flip is probably quite suppressed due to the bullshit and bollocks and shit that has been a part of the everyday life that I've experienced. Probably in a negative way, like with all the crap that goes on. And that maybe just slightly, possibly, be playing too much of a thing in my energy to make me not really think, oh, is it possible not to go through something like this? So, yeah, I feel it, but I also, if I deeply really resonate myself and really shut myself down and really feel the, 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 the positive energy that the universe provides us, then it does sort of tap me on the shoulder and go, just wait and see.
Yeah.
Just wait
Yeah.
and see. So,
The
it,
the goal is not to adjust your algorithm to just doom scroll,
yeah,
apocalyptic shit constantly.
yeah,
The goal is to transcend all of that and say, I've done everything I can,
yeah,
and it is what it is,
yeah.
and we're going to figure it out. Have you heard about this guy sailing from Oregon? Some guy, he has like a degenerative neck thing. He's gonna probably die. He sold everything, cashed out his 401k, bought a sailboat, took his cat, and he's like sailing. He's going. And his goal was initially to go to Hawaii, and then he's like, "Fuck that! I'm never coming back." And he's just started out. I follow him on Twitter or the updates. He has a Starlink with him, and this guy, he's a good sailor, right? He knows how to trim the sails. He knows how to reef the main and the jib when the storms are coming, right? I mean, he gets it, right? He's got to be prepared for the storms. He's got to be prepared for no motor. He's got to be prepared for no water.
Yeah.
But he's also got to be present for the
Yeah.
sunset and
Love
and
it.
the these and the little swims and those moments of just like introspective, deep, don't speak a word to a human days at a time. He has to be present for that. And I don't have a problem with people who focus on the positivity. Don't get me wrong, but I want balance I look for balance in a person where they can enjoy those moments and still be prepared because the storm's coming. Storm's coming. You're going to go through a boat roller, man. You're gonna lose you're gonna lose your mast at some point and be fucking duct taping it together. But that's why you're here.
Yeah.
Because
That's yeah.
calm seas don't make salty sailors.
No.
It's like, why do you stack, right? Like, okay, so live in that world for a moment, but then come back to reality and say, right now, the old lady's in the other room. I'm gonna go give her a big kiss and a slap on the butt, say hi to the kids, and enjoy dinner,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes you have to get out and force yourself to touch grass, but a good balanced life says when the times are good, I should go check for the storm. That way, when the storm comes, that balanced nature that I have isn't disrupted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just like it's Tuesday, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's terrible news. Yeah, yeah, it was world's chaos. But did you see the sunset? Yeah. It's like the guy that's really ready can emphasize the positive more in the negative moment than the guy that isn't ready at all.
Yeah.
And the sound money people have already run in this direction. And you're right. The tendency could be to get really doomy gloomy. But don't keep everything slabbed. Like sometimes you need to break a slab and just touch that fucking coin and go, yeah, that's a beautiful coin. God, I love it. Ding. I just like that's what it's there for, man. It's just
It
what
is.
is
Yeah, I like that. I love that, and it's really cool that you get that philosophy that I was trying to put across because when we have a tendency, especially when you meet people, especially in this environment, in the social network side, a lot of people use certain chat groups, chat environments, Discord groups as an out for positivity. And I get that. I get why they do that because maybe their life's pretty unbalanced. They've had enough of this shit. But I try to like in a similar way, sort of embrace the dark side of life to produce I love the way you put it, the balance for living in the present
yeah,
and understanding what the present is and what it means to me and the good side. But unless quite often I've fought against in my life, or I've been very hostile to the shitty storms that I've had to go through at certain times in my life. But now I sit there and think, thank fuck I went through them, because it's
right. You made it.
made me appreciate the present and the good side of what, like the sun coming up and the sun going down, the
Yeah,
fact that, you can inherently come across and have a lovely moment of love, with your children or your wife or your partner, whatever.
yeah. But you
It's
can't know those things without contrast.
exactly, yeah,
And that's why when it's how an X-ray works. It's contrast,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, this is a struggle as a guy who's had my career. I can go to a dark place in my head real fast,
Oh, yeah,
and it can be depressing. Something you can grab you for days. And you have to reach out, and you have to talk to somebody, and you have to bring yourself back to reality. But we don't need to be bipolar where we're swinging super high and low, but we got to try to, if you have to for a little while, do it. But just say, okay, but my point is to slow that down. And at some point, I want to hit this glide path where wow, that sunset's beautiful. There's a Polish folk singer named Kaska Soszaka, and she has a song called Niebo Bieloruszowa, which is like the flowers will never bloom again or something. And it's this beautiful, beautiful song. I'll send you a link to it. And the lyrics, when you translate them, it's apocalyptic. She's talking about how the world's going to end in a nuclear blast, but she's noticing the beautiful colors of the sky. And so even in the darkest moment, there's still beauty somewhere to be
Yeah,
beheld. And you
yeah,
should try to have yourself prepared with the frame of mind to find the beauty in those moments and say, hey, not all is lost. These flowers will never bloom again, but we're here to see them.
yeah,
You know, the famous Georgian folk song, Bindi Speria Sopali. The world is a sunset of color and it's fading fast. So it's like, you ever see the sunset on clouds, where it reflects from the
yeah,
horizon? And
yeah.
it's just beautiful. And that's
When
what the song is saying is that your life from the moment you're born is a sunset of color and the darkness is coming. And so don't look away from the clouds. Look at every moment. Look at every shift, every tone, every ray, and enjoy. Just be there for every moment. Um, yeah, I posted on my Twitter the other day uh, like the famous quote from Chief Tecumseh about his Indian death song,
okay.
and and great quote. God, I'll pull it up real quick. I'll read it to you if you don't
No,
mind. It's really
I'm looking for it, dude. On how long ago was it?
no, I don't know. Yesterday in a million years, I have no idea. I'll just look it up I'll just look it up on the Googles. And I have these moments a lot lately as I'm traveling, and I am just trying to post these things, or sometimes a short video just to encourage people that hey, it's not all there's a lot of negative, man, but it's not all negative. Uh, so live your life that the fear of death can never enter your heart. Trouble no one about their religion. Respect others in their view, and demand that they respect yours. Love your life, perfect your life, beautify all things in your life. Seek to make your life long and its purpose in the service of your people. Prepare a noble death song for the day when you go over the great divide. Always give a word or a sign of salute when meeting or passing a friend or a stranger. When in a lonely place, or a stranger when in a lonely place. Show respect to all people and grovel to none. When you arise in the morning, give thanks for the food and the joy of living. If you see no reason to give thanks, the fault lies only in yourself. Abuse no one and no thing, for abuse turns the wise ones into fools and robs the spirit of its vision. And when it comes your time to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with the fear of death, so that when their time comes, they weep and pray for a little more time to live their lives over and over again in a different way. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home.
Nice. I like that
Like,
bit.
it's just like, dude, I don't care where you're at. I don't care what you've done. I don't care how good or bad shit is. Like, that's how we're supposed to be living.
Yeah,
Like, this shit just is what it is, man. And there's rules. And if
amen to that.
you live by that code, it's easier.
I'm just going to share your everybody. If you want to follow Jeff on Twitter, this is what you need to be looking for.
Traveler Jeff. Oh, you see I pinned that conversation.
What conversation's that, mate?
Futuristic synergy, gold is a qubit
Oh
substrate,
yeah, sorry, yeah,
quantum computers.
yeah. Nice sunset there. Look.
That's a sunset of the Bosphorus Straits in Istanbul.
Okay.
I
What's
took
that?
that picture. Yeah,
What's that building there?
that's the Blue Mosque.
Okay.
Um, yeah, man. And you know what? I almost didn't take the photograph because I was enjoying the view so much. And,
Beautiful. It is beautiful.
yeah, Um,
Dude, I've really enjoyed this.
yeah, this has been good.
I love it. I love that. Yeah, I think it started off with having proper conversation. And it's turned into a lovely philosophical outlook on what we think life should be like. That's
Yeah,
powerful stuff, dude. It's
yeah,
real
and
powerful stuff.
thanks to you for creating a space to have the, and I really appreciate it. It's beneficial. I mean, I don't care if there's a million views or 10. Like anybody that bothers to watch and listen to us and thinks that they got something out of it, hey, great. Even a criticism, is
Yeah,
welcome. Yeah, well,
you had
yeah,
plenty of
well,
that the other day.
I
I,
don't care.
I can't find the
Someone criticize me.
oh, I don't know. It's just there's someone that used to he gave Camel a really hard time ages ago. And I didn't I was chatting to Camel about it and he'd never heard of him and I had no idea what the fellow was going on about. And I give up in the end, exchanging comments on there because I think it was just after a response, just a, I don't know what he was on about. But if you search through the videos, you'll probably see it. I'm not that pathetic to can't, delete people's stuff. They can stick what they want there. But I
I
don't know.
don't care.
I can't remember what he was going on about. He was going on about, oh, the podcast ain't what it was like, what it used to be like. You keep changing what you're doing. And I was thinking, yeah, I'm not buying. I can do what I want with my podcast. It's my podcast.
Yeah,
You don't have to watch it if you
yeah.
don't want to. But then
The,
he
the,
went, oh, there's some strange people on there and you shouldn't believe what they say, but I won't say who they are. Oh, one of them's Traveller Jeff. I'm
oh,
thinking,
really?
oh,
Ah, cool.
what are you going on about?
No, it's like that's great, man.
And
Like
it's just like, you attention
you,
seeking prick.
you got to have your haters, right?
Yeah, it's just like what? And then he's slagging me off for certain because I changed direction of what I want to do, and I'm thinking, what is your problem, man? And I challenged him, and he said I've got a very different view, and I really deeply disagree. And I said, well, mate, that's what I did. That's what stopped the conversation. I turned around and said, oh, if you've got a different view to what you're listening to, please come on because that's what I encourage. I really do encourage. I want other people to come on board,
Yes.
and tell me stuff and, tell me what their views are and what they disagree and what they don't. And it just went all quiet.
Yeah.
And then I think I got a reply a little while later and it said, oh, no, I think I'll pass on that. I was tempted and I'm thinking, bullshit, bollocks. You just, oh, whatever,
Maybe we should be grateful he spared us from his intellectual prowess.
maybe. But then he just turned around. He said, "Oh, I'm really considering not watching anymore." And I thought, no, I'm not biting. And so I would normally reply to that. I thought, no, the best thing to do is just ignore it because it will go away because it's not getting a response. And I just thought, well, just
I'm just living
leave then.
my life. I'm not living his. I can't live
Exactly.
his. Yeah. You gotta live his. And listen, if he has a better way of living, I'm all ears.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm it, man. Like, what you got,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't. This is the part of the space that I don't like. But it's one
Mhm.
thing that I just accept, and you're going to get
I
people
change it.
that are,
Yeah.
you
Like
know,
I only
ref-
change the things I can, and I accept the things I can't, and I hope I have the wisdom to know the difference. That's what the alcoholics say at the meetings. I get nothing
I
left.
better start going then.
I'm playing, but it's like, but you know, if a conversation between two guys on a video really disrupts your serenity, how much did you really have?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't agree with a lot of people that I interact with, but I try to be cordial. Again, I want to preserve the opportunity to learn from that person's perspective.
Yeah.
I can't do that if my conduct has precluded my ability to have a conversation. And I tell you what, though, I put my resume against any guy that throws shade like that any day of the week. Um, yeah, I've been places and I've done things um, that changed me as a person. forever. And I think it made me a better man in the end. And I'm
Absolutely.
never going to apologize for it. And uh, yeah,
And you're willing to share that experience and
yeah,
challenge that and challenge it, you know. So
came really close today to nuking everything online, to be honest. I did.
I do too every now and then.
I had the finger on the delete button.
It's
I
mad,
mean,
isn't it?
it, it's you know, you make yourself vulnerable when you come on and you talk and you put your face to your name. I use my real name on Twitter. You know, I don't hide. Um, and yeah, there's some vulnerability to that. And I do get I was in one of those negative headspaces today specifically in regard to something I was doing. And I thought, boy, like fucking sell everything. We're out of here. You know, I'm gonna take the kids to Korea, catch a K-pop concert. And we're gonna, you know, it's just bye. See
Yeah,
ya. I don't have to do anything, you know. I don't
yeah.
have to do a damn thing. Um, but that's not the right answer.
No.
I'm just gonna be me and I don't care. I I don't care how many followers I have or how many people like me or hate me. Like, I don't really care. Um, I know the conversations I've had with you, um, conversations I've had with a lot of other guys have been mutually beneficial. I hope on their side, but I mean, it's stuff that's intellectually stimulating and philosophically or personally challenging, and that's where growth happens. And I, I live a little bit of an isolated existence. Oh, she did bring me wine. Look at that.
Oh,
I
bless her.
live an isolated existence sometimes, a lot of times, and I find I have a greater sense of community online than I do in my, real day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And it's in some ways that's sad, but but the design of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it right now kind of necessitates that's the way it is. But I enjoy it, and if the cost of that is I get some shade, that's fine. I haven't seen the comment, so I wish I would have. I would have responded nicely. Hey, please send me a bulleted list of how much I'm full of shit or whatever, and I'll read it and I itemize my response.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. Do you know what? I can't even remember the crux of the conversation because I just thought, no, I'm not buying here, dude. I'm not. I'm just not interested in that. If you want to come on by all means. But if you don't, then stop filling up the comments with a load of comments.
So, you got quite the silver collection, right?
Yes, I have.
You're
Yeah,
a
for
coin guy,
sure.
right? Any coins in particular you're looking for?
Um,
I can keep my eyes out for on my travel.
Not overly. I think I do quite a few date runs. Um, I'm always a sucker for perf mint stuff.
Okay.
Um,
Older stuff too.
there are certain kookaburras that I still haven't got.
You got a
Uh,
white whale.
the web one.
Yeah, do you have a white whale like from like Moby Dick? Like, what's your white whale coin? Like the one that like if I could, that's the one coin I. Do you have one of those?
Wow, what a good question. No, I haven't because I've basically got all the coins that actively I've seeked to put into my collection.
Okay.
Um, and I'll be honest with you, Jeff, I have to discipline myself not to go spend hours and hours looking around because there is so much out there.
Because you'll always find something that all of a sudden you didn't know you needed.
Yeah,
Just
for
thought
sure.
you're like, I need that.
There's a bit of a sucker for the original Nui Bitcoin
Oh,
coins, silver coins, which I've got every single one of those, the first edition, second edition, like, or the whole date run of all of them.
really?
Oh God, yeah. Anything that's that Bitcoin is Bitcoin related, obviously, because
A
that's
lot of those coins out in the wild that were never found.
yeah, yeah,
Ones that
that's
had Bitcoin on them. You know the ones I'm talking about?
oh the let me tell you, the ones made by the Polish mint. I think it's
Yeah, where they had the seed, right?
yeah, I've got
And those
seven.
wallets.
I think I've
And
got
they know which wallets, right? And so they know those coins haven't been touched. They know those coins haven't been found. And those numismatically, those carry some of the largest premiums ever based on when they were minted to today. Because not only does it possess the spot value of that Bitcoin today, you know, I know a couple,
which ones were they, dude?
man, I don't know, I can't remember what they were called, but there was a guy and he would sell them for like not a lot of money or try to give them away to people and he gifted them and he put them in places. I think at one point he put them in a vending machine somewhere in a park.
Oh, right, okay. They're not the
You know what I'm
ones
talking
that
about?
I've got. I share my screen now.
So there's like some guy, that like shoved that in a desk somewhere and then left home and his mom finds it and she doesn't know what it is. Hopefully she didn't throw it away, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine you walk into like a yard sale one day in like a nothing town. If
Yeah,
there's Bitcoins for sale for $4 or
yeah.
something.
These
I
these are the
don't.
ones that have got crypto on them.
So I like those Libertads, by the way.
Yeah. So
I
I've
got a
got
50 so Mexican gold coin. That's the my gem right now.
yeah, these have got like
Wow.
a thousand satoshis in them.
Oh, yeah.
Um, that's got a thousand satoshis in that one.
Uh-huh.
Thousand in that one. They did a Doge coin, which I haven't got that one. I'd like to get that for the collection. That's got one Doge on it. But
Well,
they did some Ukraine ones. Um,
never even seen those.
yeah, these are very
Oh,
nice.
those are awesome.
They've got some beautiful detail on these.
And you've left them intact, right? You haven't
Yeah,
moved the coins.
look at that. You see, like the eagle is made up of binary numbers.
Oh my
The
word.
puma, see, like all the O's and ones.
Yes.
The detail on it is just incredible. That's the puma. They did an eagle.
These
As
guys that make these silver collectibles, they're like next level artists,
Yeah, they're just amazing, absolutely amazing. But yeah, look, that's the eagle.
That's a beautiful
All
coin.
the feathers are made of noughts and ones.
How many ounces is that?
These are 2 ounce proof coins.
So it's got some beef to it. Yeah.
Yeah, but they've got a thousand satoshis on,
That's gorgeous.
which is really cool, you know. So yeah, I've got
That's so cool. Mint
quite a few of
condition.
that collection.
Wow.
Yeah, anything that's got anything Bitcoin related or
That's so smart.
it
So
is.
s- what a great collectible.
Mm, there's 2,000 of them minted, so
Nice.
quite
Limited
nice.
mintage. Very niche.
Yeah,
Coin related.
but like they've got this holographic cutout on the back that
Yeah.
it tells you how to download the stuff, but mine are all in the boxes and cased and never been out the cases.
Oh yeah. That's a beautiful.
They're not coming out. But
I'd
yeah,
love to find one of those Bitcoin, even if the wallet was drained.
yeah.
I think those coins still carry um, quite the collector's value.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yes.
with the seed phrase, I think there's like a seal, right, where you open the seal and it reveals a QR code to the wallet.
Yeah.
So with the seal intact, I know they're worth a lot more.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Especially, I mean, I think some of those had 100 Bitcoin in them, and
Really?
yeah, they're in the wild, and no one ever they haven't all been accounted for. Um,
Wow.
and the wallets that he did are known. Those wallet addresses are known, and so they know what's moved and what hasn't. And yeah, that's the kind of stuff that'll be at Christie's, one day, and up for auction. It's gonna be good. And it'll sell for Bitcoin. It won't sell
Yeah,
for, yeah.
100%. Yeah, I'm a sucker for, obviously, I'm in the UK, so I've got the Britannia collection.
Okay. I love
Uh,
Britannia. The
yeah,
platinum Britannia is beautiful. Have you ever seen the platinum Britannia? I have a 1 ounce platinum Britannia. That's that the hardness and the density of platinum, it can't be faked. And it's like once you hold a platinum coin, like you'll never fall for a phony ever. There's nothing like it. But it's so brilliant and the design is so nice. The Britannia design, the face of that,
yeah, yeah.
so beautiful. What a great looking coin.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, I don't, I've, because I'm a Bitcoin boy at heart, mate, really, to be honest. I like the gold. I've got sovereigns and Britannias and bits and pieces.
I'll try to pick you up a memento from Prague when I go to
That'd
the
be,
company.
that'd be cool, yeah.
There'll be something floating around.
Yeah, always, yeah, could drop me a text or something and
Yeah,
what's
if I'm
around.
going someplace, we're going to a coin store. Maybe we can like have a Zoom call and you can look around the shop or something.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. It- the guys
Yeah.
are all, the coin guys are fantastic when you talk to them. Guys in coin shops, your local
Oh
coin,
God, yeah.
they're great. Greatest guys in the world. Yeah.
Wonderful community. Yeah, the whole space is really cool, to be fair. I really enjoy it. And I'm terrible with the silver though. Super addictive to it. I have to be very,
It's,
very careful.
it's like, well, but it's only, and you're like, wow, that's very reasonable. And I'm not spending the money. I'm saving it
Yeah,
by buying this.
yeah,
The worst
yeah,
part of the hobby
yeah,
is you're like, none of this money is spent. I still have
yeah,
it. It's
yeah,
the only hobby where you get to never spend money
yeah,
and aggregate wealth.
yeah. But the nice thing, Jeff, is my youngest lad. He's 23, and he's into all this as well. And
Nice.
he quite often says to me, "But Dad, there's physical stuff, like just digital, dude. It's a digital future, man."
I that pinned conversation on my profile kind of bridges that topic pretty well. And I don't deny there's a digital future at all. Okay. I'm a maxi in that space and talked to a lot of guys about weird shit like quantum, entanglement with Bitcoin and the network and strengthening it, and why a quantum AI is not a threat to the network. I mean, it could be, but there's a lot of reasons why it can't happen. Specifically, the network effect of the network itself is be the first to adopt it, the first to capitalize upon it, and integrate it in order to strengthen the chain. The other aspect of it is that an artificial general intelligence will recognize the quality of Bitcoin for what it is and would defend the network on its own, and that two AGIs interacting with each other in cyberspace are going to choose to transact in that currency anyway. As soon as they choose to transact in it, they logically have to defend the network themselves and participate. So they would self-operate nodes and reinforce the chain and the cryptography and right size some things. So I don't think any of that's a threat. But there's a theory that discussion goes into is that the physical properties of gold itself in its different phases, right? It has a plasmonic phase, has a mechanical phase, has a thermal phase, has different phases of matter, right? And
Yeah,
all those different phases have a harmonic resonance frequency based on shape and size and how they're interacting. There's a theory. It's just a theory. It's a sci-fi theory going around that quantum AGI, a quantum computing artificial general intelligence, will be able to do the math to create the processors and the memory, and even a broadcast mechanism with quantum entanglement, utilizing gold to transact Bitcoin through quantum entanglement, meaning wirelessly, like opposing electrons located on the other sides of the planet. One effect on one has a mirror effect on the other, right? So that they can figure that out, and that once that's figured out, it essentially fuses and creates a singularity between gold and Bitcoin, where it's not that some argue Bitcoin becomes gold, and some argues that gold becomes Bitcoin. It's neither here nor there for me, but gold is the oldest money known to man, and it's been around forever, and it's not going away. It's not going to lose its value. I'm sure you're probably going to get more upside in Bitcoin than you will in gold, but you'll get way less volatility in the gold, and the gold's never going to zero. And the point where gold fuses with Bitcoin for quantum physics in order to reinforce the chain completely cements that every piece of gold is actually Bitcoin and every Satoshi is gold, and that they're one and the same in a digital, harmonically synchronous universe with the physical world. That's the singularity. It's the digital and the temporal, the physical. And I do enjoy those conversations. I do think that gold's important. I think it's never going to not be important. I think Bitcoin's equally important. And I think guys that choose one side, I love them. And I'm glad they're there because someone's got to, love that more than something else. But I see them as harmonious. And that's the pair that I trade. I trade the Bitcoin gold pair.
100%.
But yeah, the, the, the events, the that are transpiring at a faster and faster, more rapid pace. News happens so fast right now. Change happens so fast. That's efficiency. Efficiency in technology is creating, having an effect on our world that's creating a quickening of events that's making them transpire faster. And in our ability to process those events has to also keep up with that pace. And to watch our money do that is man, we got a front row seat to like the greatest change the world has ever experienced, and it's terrifying and exciting. You have to be balanced about it. Yes, there's dystopian things that can come of it, but just look at the beauty that can come of it as well. And
Yeah,
it just, if anything, that Max Kaiser is like the uber like Bitcoin philosopher, right? And he goes off on these tangents as well. And I've watched Max Kaiser for years, and sometimes he would talk about Bitcoin, and it seems like a sci-fi geek,
yeah,
but 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 you go back and watch a video from 10 years ago with Max talking about Bitcoin, and everything's happened, and that's the world we're building today.
yeah,
So what's to say that that's not the world that we're going to build tomorrow? And
absolutely.
yeah, and so to have a front row seat on that, that part of the change, that ought to balance out all the negatives pretty well. Just wow, that's really cool. I'm glad I have some exposure to that.
Oh,
And
100%. And one thing I will say, although my son does say it's going to be a digital world,
yeah,
he
yeah.
still buys his sovereigns.
But I mean, you got to eat.
Good.
You still have to eat, though. You have to. Someone has to grow the olives to make the olive oil out here in Albania.
Absolutely. Yeah. So,
Those two things have to fuse together.
yeah,
That's what has to happen. The plumbing and the capital structure, the base layer of the capital structure has to change and shift into Bitcoin. And and when it does, it's that process of Bitcoin becoming the base layer for money is going to be very, very volatile, very dangerous time, but
yeah, it's got
also beautiful time.
exactly.
Yeah, it's a beautiful time.
I want skin
So
in the game, dude.
yeah, right, or whatever. Yeah.
Got to have
Um,
skin in the game. Right, dude, I'm going to call it a day there. Thank you so much for your time. I never get bored of these conversations.
I wish someone else would have piped in today.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah.
it's really cool just to have that one on one.
Well, I love to hear feedback from people if they care to. And if not, that's fine too.
Yeah, yeah. I think the more now I'm feeling a lot better and I'm not looking after my grandson, so I should push it a little bit more and get some more people on. And if you
You
ever
want,
think
you want
you
to talk to one of the guys I've met here?
100%,
You
yeah,
want me to set up some interviews from Prague as well?
absolutely. It's
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's I'm all for the normal. I want this podcast to be about the normal people. I
Yeah.
don't want, it'd be great if, you get this so-called, I hate this, but the so-called headline bigwigs. That's really cool if they come on, but I'm not chasing the views. I'm just chasing conversation with normal people.
Yeah. No, that's the point. Well, and those big guys are normal people too.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they put their pants on when they get a time, just like we do.
Perhaps they shall shit out the
Nothing.
same place, don't they?
Right. Yeah. They're still, this is a normal guy.
Yeah,
Got into it a little earlier. That's all. But, no, yeah, I'll see if I can find some people that'd be willing to come on. I'll talk to my Greek friend here,
yeah.
see if he'd be something. He's a little, well, it's up to him. I would just say that, you know,
100%, yeah. Don't
yeah, but I'll encourage
people
him.
want to, they can. If they don't want to, that's fine. There's
Yeah,
always,
really
I've always
love
got you to talk to.
if my driver would come on.
Yeah, it's
That'd
just
be
that.
cool. I mean, because he's so new. He's so new to it, right? Wouldn't that be
Yeah,
cool to talk to him?
yeah. It's just and like from my point of view, it's really cool to get that fresh, new, exciting, enthusiastic, type of energy to come across because a lot of people are similar. That want to get in. They want to know that I'm not the only person.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Well,
really cool.
we are all isolating, right? We're
Yeah,
isolated. We find our social interaction online now, right? Your son's right. The world is going digital,
yeah,
right?
100%. Yeah,
We have
definitely.
this great laid back conversation now, and we've never met
Yeah,
except in cyberspace, right?
yeah. But this
And
is this is like the closest to normal conversation.
yeah, isn't that ironic?
Yeah, it's weird. And we take it for granted and people slag off Bitcoin.
You remember when you had to make a call? You
Oh
had to
God, yeah.
I mean before phone cards.
No, I
Yeah,
meant
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
watch it go
And
backwards.
yeah, I thought about that the other day. I video chat with my dad like 3 times a week. And I'm like, I remember when I was, overseas as a young Marine, and it cost me so much money, to get the card and try to call, and it was like once a month, maybe 2 months, and now it's just like I'm walking down the street, like in like nowhere, like fuck Egypt, Albania, or whatever, and I just like whip out my phone, and like video chat with my dad on the other side of the planet, and
That
I'm
is
just like,
that's
hey,
nuts.
dad. Yeah.
It's nuts. Just the
I know, I know, it's crazy.
pure how
Hmm.
that happens through thin air is
Yeah.
just crazy.
And it's like everyone does it.
Yeah, they don't think twice about it.
The gypsies down here, the street kids, they have smartphones.
It's mad. It's mad.
They hide them. They hide them so you don't see them. But they do. They're all there.
It's cool. So cool.
My word. Yeah.
Dude, thank you.
Cheers.
Much love to your family and thank you very much for coming on. Really enjoy it. I can't wait till next time.
Yeah. Ciao.
Take good care.